Alrighty. What is going on, guys? So as you can see, I'm clearly not in the truck. I'm at home right now on home time. So yeah, but just wanted to make a video real quick on winter driving, so to speak. Actually, not so to speak. Shit, it is what it is. Winter driving. I was watching another video from another YouTuber, and he made some good points in his topic was about winter driving, things of that nature. He made some decent points in his. He also said a few things that I don't necessarily say I don't agree with. They're just a very tough pill for people to swallow, and I mean it is what it is. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and I guess make my own winter driving video and tips and whatnot, and I don't want to necessarily say piggyback off of his because I've definitely talked about it in a previous video. I figured I'd just go ahead and make a newer, updated one. So yeah. Oh, I got some ear pods, by the way. My girlfriend, y'all know Janisha, she got me some ear pods for my birthday, so that's pretty nice of her. I don't need them right now, so I'm just going to stick it back inside the case. These things are pretty neat. I like them. So yeah, this is my hometown. Well, one small part of it, where I'm from. But anyway, back to the winter driving. So, I do want to say that I hear a lot of people say, like, you know, oh, I don't want to drive in the winter. I don't want to drive. Well, I don't want to drive in the snow. They tell their dispatch to hold them in a certain area, and you know, all that kind of stuff. Any kind of excuse they can come up with to avoid any kind of excuse they can come up with to avoid having to drive in the snow or in possible inclement weather outside of the usual rain. And that being said, if that's what you want to do, knock yourself out, but understand that you are limiting yourself to where you can go and, you know, how much money you can make. Now, I'm not saying you should come out here and have an accident, drive reckless, you know, and mess up your career all in the name of chasing money. By all means, drive safely, as safe as you can. If the weather does get to a certain point to where you just cannot feel that you cannot safely operate your vehicle, whether it be your car or your, you know, or the semi truck that you're in, then you need to go ahead and pull over. But you know, outside of that, drive. A lot of people say they want to avoid it. You have to get your winter driving experience. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings by saying that. You cannot keep on avoiding trying to drive in the cold and in the snow. It's the winter time. Some parts of a good bit of the country has really bad snow. You know, they'll do the best they can to keep it up, to keep it from icing and, you know, making it next level treacherous for you to drive in. But nonetheless, kind of have to deal with that. I mean, it is what it is. And that is literally the best way I can put it. It is what it is. You have to learn how to drive in it. That being said, let's talk about some driving tips for driving in the snow. Outside of the obvious, I can't stand when people do that. Like, they see you approaching and then they just cut in front of you like that. I do the same thing when I'm on the road in the truck, and you know, and I can. If somebody cuts in front of me, I just move over to the other lane and just keep on going around them. But let's talk about some winter safety driving tips. If you can, you know, let's say you're going to brave the driving. Drive at a pace that is suitable and safe for you. Let's say you're driving and everyone around you wants to do 55 miles an hour and you feel safe doing 45, 50. If that's what you're going to do, stay in the right-hand lane and go ahead and do 45 to 50 miles an hour. You know, don't threaten your safety and other safety by trying to drive outside of what you're capable of doing. Another thing, I need to get some gas. Daggone, I just realized how low I am. I'm just like between empty and a quarter of a tank. Another thing, keep your distance. I cannot stress that enough. Already keep your distance, you know, while you're driving in perfect good conditions like these. But also keep your distance while, you know, you're in bad weather. For this particular example, we're talking about snow. Keep extra distance, because people, you know, you'll see it. Situations out here change very fast. It'll be fine 1 second. The next thing you know, somebody's spinning out of control not far ahead of you. And so you've got to immediately start slowing down in a very safe manner. Don't ride in packs. Sometimes, you know, you might be driving, you might get hit with the whiteout. Slow down. Drive at the speed that's safest for you to see, that's safest for you to operate at for the weather conditions that you're in and your visibility. No jerking, sudden, hard movements when you're driving in the snow, because the ground is way more slick. I'm gonna give this guy a tad bit of space. It's kind of a bad spot to park. But yeah, what was I just saying? Threw me off. But yeah, give yourself some space. Keep yourself some space from everybody else. Just the same things that you would do while driving in normal conditions, almost act as if you have to enhance that when you're driving in the winter. And that's really it. It's not that bad. You know, you don't want to jerk the truck. You know, you can get away with a tad bit more jerking in this kind of weather than you would in a snowstorm, which is obvious. So just drive as safe as possible. If it's to the point where you have to throw your chains or tire cables onto your tires, then it's probably not best for you to be driving, period. Not in those conditions. Me personally, I drive in all conditions, day or night, as long as it is not ice on the ground or an obscene amount of snow. I'm running. Now, I'm not always going to be doing a high speed limit. That's just not the case. Nor is it safe. But for 9 times out of 10, I will run. Y'all saw in that one video I made last season how I went and I went and stopped because I got hit with that whiteout really fast. So you know, conditions like that, yeah. If you don't feel that's so safe to drive, then don't drive. But yeah, that day I actually drove into the storm head on. Had no idea it was coming. So yeah, that happened. Now, excuse me, a tad bit thirsty. Now, let's talk about how this will affect your money. Because, you know, everybody, obviously you're doing whatever job you do to make good money. Hopefully you're making decent money. Let's talk about how this will affect your money. During this time of the year, in and of itself, freight is already a little bit slower. So you're kind of going to take a small pay hit as it is. For us OTR guys, at least. You're going to kind of take a pay cut or a pay hit as it is. That being said, winter driving, if you run in those states where you get a ridiculous amount of snow, that will hold you back even more. So it is imperative that you drive safely in it if you are going to decide to drive. Now, if you do not decide to drive, understand this, and this is the part that people they don't want to hear, but it's the truth, and it is what it is. I'm gonna, like I say, I always give you what you need and not what you want. Sometimes I give you what you want, but 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna give you what you need to hear. Understand that most companies are not going to give you a hard time about stopping in inclement weather. They understand what you got going on. The shippers and receivers from the places that you'll be picking up at, especially out in the parts of the country that get hit hard with the inclement weather, They understand how hardcore driving in that kind of stuff is. So they expect for things to get get rescheduled, to get slowed down, all that good stuff. They expect it. But with that being said, your company's going to let you sit. Hey, I don't feel safe driving. All right, well, we reschedule the delivery, blah, blah, blah. You ain't going to make no money. And it is what it is. If your wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. You've got to drive the truck to make money. So, I hear a lot of people, I'm just not going to drive it. I'm just not going to drive. I'm not going to drive. But then they turn around and say, I want a bunch of money. I want to make all this money. What do you think is going to happen if you're not driving? At some point, you have to pop your cherry, so to speak, and just drive in it. You got to come to a point and say, enough is enough. I can't keep on just sitting and I just can't keep on sitting and just not drive. Let me hurry up and get by, because he's probably going to think that's an exit only lane, and it's not, but he's probably going to want to come over anyway. Called it. Look at that. He thought it was an exit only lane, and it's not an exit only lane. Called it. I know the sign says it, but it's not. Called it. Well, I've been living out here so long, I already can judge what somebody else is going to do. That's not an exit only lane over there. The sign points and says it is, but what you guys can actually see, it's a double exit only lane, and that lane will actually continue straight. So you'll see it in a second. It says double exit only, but it's not. This lane actually continues. But yep, people do that kind of stuff all the time. But yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You're not going to make any money. Of course, the company wants you to do the safest thing possible, but they also want you to accomplish the mission. It's a mix of both worlds. You've got to understand, yes, drive as safe as possible, but also, have that mindset of mission accomplishment. I need to get this load delivered so I can get another load and keep on providing for my family. This part kind of goes into saving your money and being smart. If you've been over there for a while, you have a high, you have a season where you make a lot of money, you have a season where you make a lower amount. During the time when you're making a lot of money, don't be spending all your money left and right willy-nilly, because wintertime and the slow season is going to hit, and now you done spent up all that money. Excuse me. Now you done spent up all that money that you earned during the good season that should have been sitting in your savings account for the slow season, and now you're hurting during the slow season trying to figure out how you're going to be paying your bills when you start making $700, $800, $900. And for those that are y'all a lot newer, you're only going to be making like $300, $400 because you're hurting and your pay is just lower. It is what it is. But yeah. So be smart with the money. But like I was saying, back to the topic that led to that. Kind of pop your cherry as far as it goes as driving in it. I know I popped my cherry when I was with Rail, and I'll never forget this. I was sitting in the Gary terminal and like this huge storm blew over, and it was wild, and I just knew it was going to be bad, but I had no idea how bad it was going to be until I actually got all up in it. And so I'll never forget my fleet manager at the time. Well, I'm not going to say her name on camera. But I called and said, hey, look, I'm going to be sitting for a while to try to wait to deliver this load. I ended up sitting for about a full day, and then the load delivered in the morning. And it was from Gary, Indiana to Depew, New York. It was like 580 something paid miles. So I knew I could make that in one night and in just one driving shift. So I called her and I said, hey, look, I'm just not sure if I can drive it. And she goes like, well, we'll find somebody else for it if you don't feel like you can drive it. And I said to myself, you know what? I told her, I said, give me a little bit more time, and we'll go ahead. The weather looks like it's going to clear up. What I did not know was the storm was moving in the direction that it had to be going. So I waited a little bit longer. It cleared up a little bit. And then after that, I'm gonna make sure my phone is on not silent, because I'm waiting for my fleet manager to call me and give me my pre-plan so I can head on out of the house. But yeah, I woke up. I said, you know what? It looks like it. Oh wait, I'm gonna beat him. I'll come back over. I said, you know what? It looks like I can drive. Y'all, let me tell you, when I took off and started driving, it was fine for a little bit. Got maybe like 20 miles away from the terminal in Gary. I saw one truck jackknife, like right in front of me. He was probably like a good less than a quarter mile ahead of me. Watch this fool just jackknife. And he started jackknifing pretty hard. I'm amazed he was able to recover it. The car started slowing down and they gave him plenty of space. It was like 4 lanes on the road, so there's plenty of space for his trailer to swing out to the side. But yeah, the trailer like swung out full past the 90 degrees, and he was able to drive safely and whip it and maneuver it to where the trailer got back behind the truck. So I guess wouldn't necessarily technically say it's a full jackknife situation, but dude did some amazing, outstanding driving. So after that, drove for a little bit. It was ugly in Indiana, and then I hit the Ohio Turnpike up there on I-80 and through Ohio, and it was good. Yeah, I mean, it was cold, it was snowing, you know, a little slick, but I was running 65. I was getting it. And then that dude right there in that truck was riding my ass. He did not need to be riding it. So yeah, but yeah, it was fine through Ohio, man. When I got out of Ohio, before I got to the end and started hitting Pennsylvania, oh my God, man, that weather was ridiculous. I'm talking, it was bad. The snow plows couldn't even pick up the snow fast enough to ooh, I love that sound. The snow plows couldn't even pick up the snow faster than what it was coming down. And yeah, it was wild. It was so bad, like there was barely anybody on the trip. Like from that point on, I probably saw maybe like 50, 60 cars between that point in Ohio, Pennsylvania, all the way up to New York, Depew, New York. And yeah, it was wild. Like, it was to the point to where the front bumper of the truck was pushing snow out of the way because it was piling up so high. But yeah, so I powered through it, and that was when I really got my winter driving experience as far as learning how to handle, manipulate, and drive the truck in snow and inclement weather. So yeah, but you know, I figured it out, and from that point on, I got more and more comfortable driving in that kind of weather and in those kind of conditions. And now, I mean, I just do it. I just feel it out. I feel how the truck operates. I do way better trip planning as far as looking at the weather. So, you know, another thing to look at, you know, is look at the weather. Look at the weather map. I have this app called the NOAA weather map on my phone. I didn't have it then, but I have it now. But you can look at the weather real time, see the kind of see how bad it is, you know, where it's, you know, the direction it's moving, how thick it is, all the information that you'd want to know regarding a storm. So yeah, I highly recommend the app. But you know, now I can look at it and be like, all right, well, if I'm heading into the storm, I'm going against it. It's only about so thick, so I'll probably be driving in the storm for maybe an hour or two before I, you know, I'll be driving the storm for about an hour or two with about 100 miles an hour worth of separation before I, you know, before I actually come out of it. So I'll say, you know what, I'll drive out of it. You know, I'll keep it moving. So yeah, but you know, understand. The gist of this video is understand the choices and decisions and whatnot you make. I'm not saying get out and drive if it's weather is inclement and just next level and you just feel like it's outside of your league. But understand that is how you learn. You put yourself in, I guess, a learning, a more uncomfortable learning environment, and you take it slowly and you just go from there. And as it goes on and on and on, you'll end up, you know, getting more experience. So I'm not saying drive recklessly. I'm not saying drive reckless or, you know, just wild. But gotta at some point get out and brave the elements. You have to do your job. You are a truck driver. The country just does not stop just because you don't feel like driving. You know, safety over service. You know, just find that balance. I don't want to tell you to get out and drive and it's unsafe, but at the same time, come on now, you're a driver. Get out and drive in it. Drive safely. Keep your distance. Don't jerk. Just no wild movements. If you see that it's getting next level bad, have several options as to where you can park, and go from there. So yeah. But as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Hope y'all enjoyed this different little view. Got to see some of my hometown. Like, I'm still in the hometown, so I'm just on the other side of town. But yeah, I'm still in the same city where I grew up and whatnot. So yeah, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Got any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, you can always shoot me an email. I'll leave it in the description box on the video. And all right, guys, y'all have a awesome, wonderful day.